Faith Fulfilled, Book 1, Chapter 19, Glow of Hope.
So, after all this time, I finally get to have a rematch.
Rematch? I'm pretty sure we've never fought.
What?
Because like a coward, you sent your confused friend to fight me instead.
He was merely used to test your abilities. Now that I've seen them, I can say that you have a lot to learn, child.
Well, we'll see how long you'll be talking trash after your face has a few new tattoos, shall we say.
Well, good luck with that.
Ebony's eyes widen with insanity as she starts her fighting stance. Mike raises his blade above his head, signifying his own.
I've watched your moves. I know your techniques. This will not take long.
Do you want to fight or talk? Because ever since I laid eyes on that horrific face of yours, all you've done is talk.
Ebony releases a wicked grin and steps forward.
Wait a minute. If I fight here, I'll be putting all these innocent villagers in danger. I'll have to lure her to an empty area so I can go all out without having to worry about the safety of the others. Plus, getting her away from Destiny should allow for someone to go and get her medical attention.
Mike thought to himself. Taking a few steps back, Mike points his blade at his foe. A confident smile makes its way across his lips. When consciousness returned to Destiny, she looked up to see Ebony's back just a few feet from her. All she wanted to do was stick her sword right through it. Mike looked down at Destiny and gave her a small shake of the head to tell her he had the situation under control. Keeping still, as to not draw attention to herself, Destiny watched as the two fighters stayed perfectly still, waiting for the other to make the first move. With a swift turn, Mike runs away from the scene. Just as he predicted, Ebony followed behind. Making his way around the town, Mike was careful not to run into any areas with panicking villagers, as to keep them out of harm's way. What Mike didn't anticipate, though, was Ebony's speed. She was gaining on him, and fast. He had to find an exit soon before she catches him. Keeping his eyes on what was in front of him, he saw the gate that he and Destiny went through to enter the village. He bolted towards it as fast as he possibly could. The gate broke apart when he bashed his way through, with Ebony following close behind. He still wanted to go a little further, as to keep their fight away from the entire village. When he felt he was far enough, he turned around and stopped. Ebony stopped as well, mere feet away from him.
So, this is the all-powerful legacy holder that my master warned me about? Who supposedly has the power to break the fabric of time itself? What a joke. You wasted your energy trying to run from me.
Run from you? Don't make me laugh. There was a plan behind it, but all you know how to do is hurt and destroy. So it doesn't surprise me that your feeble mind couldn't figure it out.
What? How dare you?
That's enough chit-chat. You wanted a fight? Now you got one.
Mike raises his sword above his head and plants his feet firmly in the sand. Ebony swings her blade around in preparation. Again they face each other, unmoving. The night breeze blows the sand around them. The moonlight from the sky shines down on the fight about to go down. Ebony looks on at Mike with hatred, while he looks at her with a confident smile. He waves his white sword in the air and charges at Ebony, who never stopped smiling as he made his way over. Even though Mike had led the first attacker out of the village, Destiny knew that at least one more threat still existed somewhere. Before she could search for him, she had to evacuate the panicking villagers to a safe area, though. Once the village was empty, she searched around the town to hunt down the second stranger. Kyle hid inside one of the smaller houses in the village. He knew his orders were to kill Destiny, but could he really go through with it?
If this curse wasn't on me, I wouldn't have to do any of this.
Kyle muttered.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Kyle's heart stopped.
You've got a lot of nerve. Attacking defenseless villagers, but then when someone who can defend herself comes around, you hide. You're a coward. I could say I'm more of a man than you.
Kyle clenched his fists.
Either you come out and face me, or I'm gonna find you and take you out. Your choice.
Kyle burst through the door and jumped out at Destiny. She was slightly off guard, but she was still able to block his attack. Blinded by pure rage, he slashed his blade at Destiny, pushing her through the streets. While Kyle and Destiny battled through the village, Mike and Ebony were locked in a deadly duel. Ebony's skill with the blade was extraordinary, but so was Mike's. Their battle was evenly matched. Mike breaks the blade lock and hurls into the air. Letting gravity pull him down, he tries to smash his feet into Ebony's skull. Jumping out of the way, Ebony watches as his body slams into the ground. Looking back up, Mike blocks a punch and knocks his head into hers. Ebony yelps in pain as she covers her face. As blood drips out of her nose, she gets back to her feet and stares at him. Both fighters put their hands on their heads.
Well, as the warm-ups go, I'd say that wasn't too bad.
That was just her warm-up?
Time to get serious.
Mike goes into a defensive stance, ready for her next attack. In a flash, Ebony strikes at his arm. He moves to dodge, but a small cut makes its way to his arm. Blood drips to the sand below. Out of anger from his pain, Mike charges Ebony, throwing punches, kicks, and sword slashes in her direction. She blocks every attack with ease. Kyle continues pushing Destiny through the town. His attacks were strong, yes, but they were wild and out of control. Destiny had no problem dodging each one. Unlike Ebony, who can move at incredible speeds thanks to her light build, Kyle is muscular and large. As such, his weight anchors him down. With every move Kyle makes, he uses up some of his energy. Destiny knew that if she just kept away from his attacks long enough, he would eventually tire out, jumping, rolling, blocking with her blade and hands. That's all she did when going through the village. Kyle's breath began to get heavier, and he was starting to get slower. Destiny noticed the shift and began her own offensive attacks.
Have our pawns made their way to the village?
Yes, Father. They are currently battling Mike and his friend as we speak.
And?
Ebony and Mike were on par with one another at first, but Ebony is taking it seriously now and is pushing him back.
Excellent.
But Kyle let his anger take over and used up all of his energy mindlessly attacking the girl. Now that he is drained, the girl is soon to overwhelm him.
Andrew growled in anger.
I knew that child was going to be no use to us. I should have destroyed him myself.
I assure you, Father, you have nothing to fear. I'm sure once Ebony takes Mike out of commission, she'll set her sights on the girl next.
Did you follow through on my orders and tell her to not kill Mike?
Yes, Father.
Good, because I have so many plans for him.
Ebony's attacks were brutal and were so hard to anticipate or dodge. Mike was taking so much damage. It was inconceivable that someone without the power of the legacy could be this strong.
I've seen what legacy holders are capable of, so why don't you show me that hidden power of yours before it's too late for your friend?
Ebony kicks Mike in the chest, sending him several feet behind. Rolling onto the sand, he coughs up blood, struggling to his feet. He can only watch as Ebony takes a jab of her sword right into his leg. Yelling in agony, he collapses onto the ground and blood spews in all directions.
Well, if you won't show me your power, then your friend's death is on your hands.
Ebony lands one final kick to Mike's head, knocking him out. She knew her orders were to leave Mike alive, but she wanted so very badly to kill him right then and there. Resisting the urge to end his life, she turns and heads back toward the village. Kyle had his head against a house, with Destiny's blade pointed at him.
Stand down.
Kyle gasped for breath as he shook with fear at the possibility of his life ending right here and now. In the distance, he could see Ebony approaching.
She's come to save me?
Kyle thought to himself. Destiny could hear footsteps on the gravel road. Turning to face the sound, she saw Ebony standing there. Minor wounds covered her body from her fight with Mike. Destiny's eyes widened, but not with fear of Ebony, but in fear of what had happened to Mike.
What did you do with him?
Oh, I took him down a few notches.
Destiny clenched her fist.
He won't be here to save you this time.
Ebony said, pointing out her sword, dripping with Mike's blood. Seeing the sword with his blood, Destiny was enraged.
Oh, don't be sad. He fought well, so I granted him a warrior's death. You, though, will die like the insect you are.
Mike lays on the ground, completely out cold, blood still leaking from his body. Once again he finds himself in a black void, but this one is different from the other. In the last one it was completely unfeeling. His body was numb. But this time, it was warm. It was comforting warmth. Just like before, a figure can be seen illuminating the darkness. He was a bald man with a brown shirt, black eyes, and a black beard. He walked up to Mike.
I'm not gonna be fooled by your trickery.
Trickery? Oh, no, my child. You need not fear me.
That voice. I feel like I've heard it before.
Mike thought to himself.
Well, of course you've heard my voice before. We've spoken to each other in the past.
What? But I don't recognize you.
That's because you've only heard me. You've never actually seen me.
Well, who are you then?
Who are you? Is the real question, my boy.
I'm Mike.
Oh no, I don't mean your name. I mean who you truly are.
I don't know.
You're not fooling anyone. We both know who you are.
I'm no one. I'm just a man who can't protect anyone.
You've saved Clyde's life 40 times. I think that's quite an impressive feat.
Wait, how do you know that?
Michael, my name is Notch. I am the creator of the legacy.
You're Notch?
Indeed I am. You find yourself at an important stage in the course of your history. If you don't stop those assassins, all will be lost.
I can't, Notch. I'm sorry, but I just always fail.
Michael, you are a legacy holder. It's your duty to bring balance to the world.
But I can't even use my power. I'm a failure.
You're not failing, my boy. You were brought up in a different way than any previous legacy holder. The others were taught of the legacy's power and exposed to it from a young age. You weren't. You lived like a normal person. It's not your fault at all, Mike.
Well, I still can't stop that assassin. She's just so fast and so strong. Maybe if I could use my power, I could stop her.
Perhaps I can help with that.
What do you mean?
Let me take control of your body just for a brief time. I can use the legacy's power in you to take down the assassins.
I don't know.
You have my word. Once the job is done, I will give your body back to you. There is little time, Michael.
Alright, let's do it.
The void and Notch fades away. Destiny and Ebony fought throughout the town, and Ebony easily overpowered her.
You're pathetic. I thought I'd at least have a little challenge with you. But this was all too easy.
Destiny puts her arms over her face to cover her eyes from the fatal blow that was about to hit her. Ebony lifted her sword in the air, ready to deliver the final shot. But before she could, she heard a voice say,
Ebony!
She turned around to see Mike standing there with his sword in hand. His wounds were completely healed.
What? You? I thought I had you down for the count.
You can destroy villages, but you can never destroy what I am. It's time to finish this.
An explosion of yellow lights illuminated from Mike's body. The darkness of night surrendered to his overpowering glow. When the shining ceased, Mike had an aura of yellow light surrounding his body. His sword, which was normally a clear white, was illuminating a bright blue.
No way. I thought that sword was destroyed.
Destiny quickly got to her feet and scrambled to get away from the impending battle. Ebony stood in her fighting stance, ready for the fight of her life. Kyle looked on with fear at what he was witnessing. The world stood still. Notch had finally returned.